Hey guys, it's Lobo, and I said I'd do current events today on Wednesdays, and I'm pretty sure you could probably guess what I'm probably gonna dive into. This is gonna be a heavy topic. I haven't even bothered to see if this will pop up, but I have a pretty good idea what's gonna pop up. This is probably the biggest turning point in our history, to be honest. Like it was bad when Trump was shot at. That was a major turning point, and that's probably why he got elected into office. And I'm gonna keep it a solid 100. I am a conservative and a Republican. I didn't think I'd get this heavy into topics of political views today, especially about somebody who definitely shouldn't have been shot at. And it bothers me that we've come to this point in our country that a man who did not attack anybody or say that anybody should be attacked and voice his opinions, who was a father and a husband, now gets shot at. And I'm sick and tired of my internet not working. But like I said, I'm going to still do current events. We're going to still keep it at a solid 20, and whatever comes up for the news, that's what we'll stick to. But I'm pretty sure I know what it's going to be. This is heavy. Yeah, I thought so. So we'll just start with this one. And I'm probably going to make this a longer video than my other one, because this one's big. He did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to die for voicing his opinion. You can say radical, like, sure, Charlie Kirk, he was a bit of an ass. He wasn't like 100% respectful. But he didn't say everybody attack trans people, everybody attack gay people, everybody attack anybody he disagrees with you. No. He never said that. He never condoned it. He supported the idea of gun laws, so where people were no longer victims. And people are turning this around, saying that, a few gun deaths are, irrefutable. He's right. Gun deaths are nearly impossible to avoid when it comes to having guns in the hands of not only the innocent, but also evil people. Guns aren't the problem. It's the people who hold them. And I saw people saying, when are we going to start banning guns for all citizens? You know what? There's only one way to do that. There's only one way for guns to be off the streets permanently. And it's if the entire planet were to get rid of guns. Every single person got rid of every single means of assault or attack with a gun. That is the only way that happened. And then, guess what? Next on the chopping block, knives. There's a knife problem in England. Nobody wants to point that out. Because evil people will still be evil no matter what the tool is in their hand. The fact that some of you guys can't face that is mind-boggling. But that's not what we're here for today. We're not here to talk about guns. We're here to talk about the death of a father. Somebody who is the biggest talking spokesman for the right channel. One of the biggest, I would have to say. And like I said, I didn't agree with everything he had to say. That doesn't mean he had to die. Let's proceed. If my internet and everything will allow me to proceed. President Trump just announced on Truth Social, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk, go away, is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. Kirk, aged 31, ladies and gentlemen. 31. Some people say, you're still technically a child at 21. He was barely an adult, according to some people. Barely an adult. Sat and went through all of the data to get his facts and had open discussion with people. Became the most popular person to have discussion with. Wasn't even technically old enough to become president, to run for Congress, to run for an office. And he was killed for his opinions. He's 2 years older than me. Who's to say that, for my opinions, for anybody's opinions who are against, the woke mob, we won't be next. One of the biggest reasons I'm starting this channel, anonymous. Because I know for a fact my head would be on the line if I ever got found out and got doxxed. That's how serious this is. Kirk, at age 31, was nationally known conservative organizer and founder of Turning Point USA. He was shot around 1 p.m. local time at an event at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah, during a student Q&A. What really sickens me about this is the fact that it was in Utah. Born and raised in Utah, and this sickens me to my stomach. That anybody would think this was okay in Utah. The school stated there was a single shot fired from the top of a nearby building about 200 yards away. Despite earlier reports, the suspect is not in custody at this writing. According to Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, Kirk's wife and children were present at the university campus with him. In Charlie Kirk's honor, President Trump has ordered all American flags throughout the U.S. to be lowered to half-mast until Sunday evening. Who was Charlie Kirk? Charles James Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. His mother is a mental health counselor, while his father is an architect. As a member of the Boy Scout of America, Kirk earned his rank of Eagle Scout. As a high school senior, he wrote an essay on Breitbart's News, alleging liberal bias in high school textbooks, which led to an appearance on Fox News Business. Kirk briefly attended Harper College, a community college near Chicago, but dropped out before completing a degree. At the age of 18, he co-founded Turning Point USA, which he described as a grassroots organization to rival liberal groups, such as MoveOn.org. The New York Times describes the organization as a well-funded media operation backed by conservative mega donors. He has been especially identified with Donald Trump, working for his presidential elections and hosting events at his Mar-a-Lago resort. He founded efforts to recruit and mobilize students, pastors, and church leaders for conservative causes. Last year, NBC News reported that his daily 3-hour radio talk show podcast was being downloaded between 500,000 to 750,000 times each day. He was known for his Prove Me Wrong debates on college campuses, where he engaged students in discussion on issues such as gender, religion, and immigration. His TikTok online audience numbered about 7.3 million. His appearance at Utah Valley University on Wednesday was the first stop of Turning Point USA 14-city American Comeback Tour, which was scheduled to make stops in Colorado, Minnesota, Virginia, Montana, and other states. Church was an evangelical Christian. His wife, Erica, is a podcaster and businesswoman who won the Miss Arizona USA pageant competition in 2012. He was a father of a 3-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. Good to know that they're going to grow up without a dad. The only way they're going to know that anything about him is anything he posted online. Maybe something that he, they didn't edit down. Good to know. Pray for Charlie Kirk. Pray for America. Rosh Duthat, a New York Times columnist and writer I deeply respect, posted simply on X, "Pray for Charlie Kirk, pray for America." Political violence has long been a tragic part of our nation's story. Beginning with Abraham Lincoln in 1865, 4 of our presidents have been assassinated. Governor George Wallace survived a shooting in 1972. President Gerald Ford escaped uninjured from 2 attempts on his life in 1975. Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981 but survived. According to Rachel Kleinfeld in Carnegie Endowment for Peace, America has a long history of episodic political violence, from violence against Catholics and immigrants in the early 1800s to abolitionists and slave fights in the 1850s, the Civil War, the Civil Rights conflicts of 1950s to 1960s. From 1963 to 1968, assassins killed Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and both John F. and Robert Kennedy. In fact, Charlie Kirk was discussing gun violence when he was shot. An audience member asked him about mass shootings in our country. "Do you know how many mass shooters have been in America over the last 10 years? Holding the microphone, Kirk responded, "Counting or not counting gang violence." At that moment, the loud gunshot was heard, and Kirk appeared to jolt backwards in his seat. Blood could be seen on his neck. Doing what he loved to do. Today's tragic news highlights the courage required for those willing to engage in public service. This includes politics, media, church leadership, and any other venue by which someone is exposed to the public. Anything someone says or does that angers someone else puts them at potential risks. It will always be easier and safer in the moment for us to retreat from our convictions and avoid conflict however we can. While taking appropriate precautions and personal care is obviously wise, however, living in fear is truly not living. Or is not truly living, depending on how you want to say that. I'm too angry right now, just to speak clearly. As the saying goes, ships are safest in the harbor, but that's not what ships are for. The coward who shot Charlie Kirk modeled all that is wrong with a culture that abandons objective truth and consensual morality for zero-sum battle that cancels and silences disagreement. Kirk, by contrast, will be remembered not only for his passionate commitment to his political and cultural beliefs, but also his sincere desire to reach out to those who disagreed with him, seeking to forge a better future for the common good. He died doing what he loved to do, debating and advancing issues that matter to the nation that he sought to serve. Now we pray for his wife and 2 small children, asking God's grace and peace for them in their unmistakable loss and grief. We pray for the shooter to be apprehended before further violence is committed. We pray for those in the public eye that they would have the courage of their convictions and the protection of civil society. We pray for Christians to be salt and light in a decaying and darkened work culture, desperate for both. Speaking the truth is love. Ephesians 4:15 has never been more dangerous or more needed than today. That was beautiful. Thank you, Denison Forum. But gotta be fair. We gotta look at this. We gotta look at both sides. So this was 8 minutes ago on CNN. I'm only covering what I can have access to, and my lack of internet and lack of knowledge of where to go look leaves me limited to what is available to the public. So I hope you can forgive me for not, deep diving deeper than this. Honestly, this is not what I was expecting to deep dive today at all. Some people on the left side of the aisle it boggles my mind how you guys would celebrate and say that someone like the shooter who killed Charlie Kirk is a hero, and that we should set up a GoFundMe to get him out. It really does bother me that we allowed this to happen. We as a civil society did this. Alright, all this is happening. Go to social media. If you're seeing any of this, that means I was able to successfully get that recorded and everything. We'll hop right into X. All right. Let's see here. Former President Barack Obama says he's praying for Charlie Kirk's family, especially his wife and 2 children, after Kirk was shot and killed at age 31. Yep. Saw that. Wow. Good to know the Reach has a very open opinion. Yo, fuck my school for letting Charlie Kirk come here, where I've never seen so many MAGA hats. Can't wait until I can go to grad school in a different state, and fuck this. Well, hope you enjoy your new school. Maybe you'll go to Detroit, because apparently that's where you would rather be than in Utah. President Trump is demanding the suspect who was charged for fatal. Okay, that's not Kirk. Supposedly, this is a man who shot Kurt, but evidence has come out otherwise. This was 4 hours ago. Backlash for showing no remorse over Kirk's tractor debt earlier today. That guy with the crazy takes right. Be seeing some crazy shit. Well, motivation of the man who shot Charlie Kirk isn't clear, although he's probably mentally unstable. Duh. What is clear is another example of American gun violence. Stephen King. Oh well, that's valuable. Alright, person of interest. This is on CNN. In custody following Charlie Kirk's shooting death, Utah governor says. What we know. Charlie Kirk, the conservative political activist and co-founder of Turning Point USA, was killed after being shot at an event in Utah Valley University. Again, this is the part that sickens me the most. That Utah is one of those demographics that would shoot and kill one of the biggest, most right-leaning, outspoken person that we have. There has been an outpouring of condemnation from both sides of the aisle to Kirk's death. President Donald Trump said he was loved and admired by all, especially me. He was also ordered flags to fly at half-mast until Sunday. As Trump remade the Republican Party, Kirk embodied the party's newfound populist conservatism in the social media age. Trump has credited Kirk with galvanizing and mobilizing the youth vote for him. Authorities in Utah said that there is an active investigation and that there is a person of interest in custody. FBI Director Kash Patel has said the subject of the horrific shooting was in custody. Okay. Nothing else. Let's see here. Free speech groups condemn shooting. From CNN, Brian Stelter. Free speech groups on Wednesday condemning the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Political violence is never an acceptable response to speech. FIRE, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, said in a statement this afternoon, violence has no place in our democracy, and campuses must be safe spaces for dialogue across the wide range of political views, PEN America said. Others urged people to continue fighting politically without violence. Veteran conservative organizer Matt Schlapp said on Newsmax and X that young people will make Charlie awfully proud if he continued fighting. But also if you fought in a way where at the end of the day you can go have a cup of coffee with someone who you disagree with and show that there's humanity to this important endeavor that we're involved in. CBS correspondent Ed O'Keefe made a similar point during the network's live coverage. You may not have listened to Kirk, but a lot of your relatives and friends and coworkers probably did. They'll know who he is, and you should talk to them about who he was and what he did, O'Keefe said. Here announced that a person who was taken into custody in relation to Charlie Kirk shooting has been released. Yep. The subject in custody has been released after interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency, he said in an X post. Senator Kelly calls on Republicans and Democrats to lower the temperature. This should have been lowered when Trump got shot at, but hey, when you call everybody a Nazi, racist, misogynist, the worst person on this planet for having their points of view, what do you expect people to react to? Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, who represented Charlie Kirk in Congress, told CNN today that lawmakers need to lower the temperature. Everybody needs to lower the temperature, the Arizona lawmaker told CNN's Aaron Burnett on Out Front. I've heard things said by my Democratic colleagues that are not helpful. I've heard things said by my Republican colleagues. And I think it's important for people to understand, especially when they are in a leadership position, that your words have consequences. Yeah. You think that people would think before they say anything, but hey, I'm not that big. I'm not that important. Who am I to point out the obvious? Kelly also stressed that politicians on both sides on the aisle should be careful with their rhetoric as it can incite political violence. Political rhetoric from both sides often gets out of hand, and it incites people to do things like this, Kelly said. And if I think it's, so important in times like this when we all take a step back and think about, our words and the consequences of, from both sides of the political spectrum, which I've tried to have political discussion with people on the left, and often it's led to, I'm a horrible person, you're racist, you're misogynist, I'm a woman, and it never leads into a conducive discussion. I try to be very, polite and very, structured, bring facts to the table. They never listen to it. It's like you love that orange man. I don't love the orange man. I will say this right here, right now. Socially, I don't like Trump. I will never invite him to my dinner table. Do I like his policies? Absolutely. Because it's making America safe again. Or at least it was. Till you guys had a freaking conniption fit and shot another person. I mean, good Lord. Now, do I have to worry about having my opinion of being out and about and open and possibly be shot at? And people wonder why it's so hard to have these discussions with people anymore. Kelly, whose wife, former Rep. Gabby Giffords, was shot while meeting with constituents in 2011, went on to say that Kirk had every right to be out there. Yes, he did. It's his First Amendment rights, speaking to kids at a university, and his life is ended because of this, Kelly added. This isn't who we should be. This is never the answer. When asked if the country is too divided right now to come together and stop such political violence, Kelly told Bernard, I worry about it every single day. I'll be honest. If this continues, I honestly see the Civil War happening. Another Civil War. I've talked about this with multiple of my family members and multiple of my friends, and a lot of the conclusion comes to there's going to be a Civil War. I honestly think there's going to be another Civil War that goes down the line to the point where our country divides into two separate adjacent states. Whereas people who want to run the country as the left likes on one side, and everybody who wants to live in the conservative side is on the other side. And that's honestly where I think it's going to go. And I hope to the Lord it doesn't go that way. I really don't. But it's just, you guys aren't leading me to any possible conclusion where that doesn't go down that path. Hold on. Anything new? Nope. Oh, New York Yankees hold moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Cool. The New York Yankees hold moment of silence in honor of conservative activist Charlie Kirk before tonight's game. A picture of him was featured on the Jumbotron with the phrase, "Remembering Charlie Kirk." President Donald Trump will be at the stadium tomorrow for the Yankees versus Detroit Tigers game, where pre-game ceremonies at tomorrow night's game will recognize the victims and heroes of terrorist attack on September 11th, 2001. What's on September? 9/11 is tomorrow. Freaking Charlie Kirk's death is now today. Supposedly, freaking DeSantis, or not DeSantis, JD Vance was supposed to come out to Utah. How much do you want to guarantee that's not canceled? That he's no longer going to be in Utah? That's insanity. Charlie Kirk was described as an intense thinker with an analytical mind, said from CNN Christian Holmes. People who knew conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was killed after being shot at an event at Utah Valley University, described him as an intense thinker with an analytical mind. He was seen as understanding the pulse of the young conservative movement and the Make America Great Again base. He had a direct line to Trump and could count on the president valuing his opinion even if they disagreed. Republicans had floated the idea of Kirk eventually running for office in Arizona, which his group worked to flip back to Trump's column last year. He reveled in debating people with whom he disagreed, with video of his fights with liberals often being shared by both sides of the argument, and believed that he could change minds through conversation, something his allies and fans noted Wednesday. If you actually watch Charlie's events, as opposed to fake summaries, they are one of the few places with open and honest dialogue between left and right. President JD Vance wrote on X. Charlie Kirk embraced religious themes in years prior to his death. Having once advocated for the separation of church and state, conservative political activist Charlie Kirk embraced more religious themes in recent years and often spoke about politics in apocalyptic terms. Kirk, a staunch Trump ally and co-founder of Turning Point USA, was killed after being shot at an event at Utah Valley University. At the Conservative Political Action Conference in 2020, he praised Trump for understanding the 7 mountains of cultural influence, a reference to a Christian nationalist movement that calls on believers to exert influence in government, media, education, business, arts and entertainment, family, and religion. On the campaign trail with Trump in Georgia last year, Kirk referred to the contest against then Vice President Kamala Harris as a spiritual battle and said that the election was civilization defining. These next 12 days will define the future of our republic, he said in late October rally. The forces of darkness have tried everything they possibly can. Violence will not silence the people of the United States of America, Utah Congressman says. Utah Representative Mike Kennedy said he and his constituents will continue to speak their minds following the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Violence will not silence the people of the United States of America. Charlie Kirk, he spoke his mind, and under threats, he continued to speak his mind, and I find that to be admirable. The Republican congressman, who represents the district where Kirk was fatally shot, told CNN Jake Tapper. Kennedy said he received death threats as a state legislator and his home was vandalized for his efforts to move certain legislation forward. He added, political violence is entirely unacceptable and it will not intimidate him. Foul language, violent rhetoric, and violent acts are not going to make me stand down and are not going to make my colleagues here in the United States Congress stand down either, the congressman said. I saw him getting shot. I saw people running for their lives. An international student says. Warning. Warning for anybody who's, extra queasy. This post contains graphic descriptions that could be upsetting. Samir Maze, an international student from India, had just started filming Charlie Kirk's speech on his iPhone when the shot was fired. I saw his blood on the table. I saw him getting shot. I saw people running for their lives. I saw people falling on each other, and it was scary, he said in a video posted to Facebook. Macy from New Delhi said there was no obvious security around Kirk, nothing that might have protected him from a shooter in the crowd. The video posted to his Facebook profile showed Massey and other people urging people running through the campus building to go, 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 and get out, get out, get out. Someone is seen stumbling to the floor in their haste to leave. He told CNN affiliate ABC Radio that he and other students who worked at the university immediately started trying to evacuate the crowd. He said attendees, including a mix of students and others from outside the university who didn't know the way out and who weren't sure how to leave the area. Six officers were at the campus event with 3,000 people, university police chief says. This is something I think is a big problem. Is after Trump was shot at, I think that all conservative and all Democratic and liberal speakers need to start having people protect them. It shouldn't be just for the president anymore. We've gotten to a point where so many people are radicalized, left or right, that shit will happen at this point. I don't want it to happen, but it's gonna happen. Because people are that stupid. So I want to make it very clear right now. I may be called racist. I am racist. I am racist against the human race. I hate humans. Because mob mentality creates these horrors. One way or another. We are a human race. Just like dogs are a race of canines. Cats are a race of felines. Anything else that differentiates us? Subcategories. Just like there's subcategories for dogs. Subcategories for cats. You're black, you're a subcategory. You're white, you're a subcategory. Asian, subcategory. Hispanic, subcategory. You're a human. Human race. And the human race is stupid when we're all moving as one. That's why we have a brain, and that's why we're individuals. We're no better than freaking deer running into a headlight with this mob mentality, and it sickens me. That's why I hate the humans. Humans in general. Here's the difference between humans and people that you meet or talk to. You're just an NPC to me if I never met you. If I never talked to you. You're just an NPC. If we don't engage with each other, your life is not any more important than the neighbor next door to me. It's not. Equal standing. For me, the value of a human life depends on the level of circle. I have my immediate family. I have my friends and my other family members. I have some acquaintances, and then outside of those three circles, NPCs. Don't know you. Don't care about you. There's a slight subcategory out there in the NPC realm that involves anybody with a big name like Charlie Kirk, Trump, and everything. But that's just because their voices are loud enough that they have a name for themselves. That's it. Otherwise, I just hate humans. Because we are the worst people. We are. because we have too many people that are doing the bad stuff in contrast to the good stuff, and it's not enough. The university event where Charlie Kirk was shot and killed had over 3,000 people in attendance and 6 officers on guard, according to Jeff Long, the police chief at Utah Valley University. The event was in kind of a bowl area here on the central campus, Long said at a press conference on Wednesday. We have a waterfall area, and so Kirk, was kind of in the lower area surrounded by buildings. Plainclothes police officers were also in the crowd, along with Kirk's security team that travels with him, according to Long. We train for these things, and you think you have things covered, and these things, unfortunately, they happen. You try to get your bases covered, and unfortunately today we didn't. And because of that, we had this tragic incident. Such as being here, to err is human, as one would say. And because of that, because humans are a thing, we have people dying. FBI sets up a tip line for information about the shooting. FBI has set up a digital tip line for information about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, the agency announced on X. The Utah Department of Public Safety and the FBI are co-leading the criminal investigation, the state's public safety commissioner, Beau Mason, said earlier. You can leave a tip here. Well, I don't have any tips, but let's open it so that way you guys can take a look at it. So, https://tips.fbi.gov/digital-media//F45077128B2893. Okay? Good chance I'll have left that in the description below if you have any tips. Not like I have very many people watching my stuff. I have a new channel, brand new, and I decided, let's do current events on Wednesdays of all days. Great to see this. Analysts, how Charlie Kirk changed conservative media and American politics. Charlie Kirk, 31, was a hugely successful political field organizer, TikToker, influencer, radio host, nonprofit leader, and public speaker, all rolled up in one telegenic figure. With Turning Point USA, the nonprofit he co-founded in 2012 at the age of 18, Kirk built a next-generation grassroots operation that was plugged directly into the GOP, much to the envy of his Democratic rivals. The talking head part of his job almost seamlessly blended together with the political organizing part, but arguably what stood out most were his public appearances at conservative conferences and on college campuses. Kirk, in Turning Point, found success in conservative circles by injecting the organization directly into cultural battles and turning divisive debates into online and offline engagement. Kirk championed right-wing ideas in fiery on-camera clashes with progressive academics that then exploded on social media, especially on Twitter, the site known as X. I'm trying to be proactive about encouraging dialogue between people who disagree, he told a CNN reporter in 2021. It looks like there's going to be a minute. So let's continue looking through X. Yeah, these people did not help that girl whatsoever. It's sad to say. I cannot type what I want to type because my communist government will lock me up for decades. Well, where are you from? Oh, he's from England. that probably makes sense. What's the talk doc? Look how happy some of these people are.
Chuckle fuck Kirk.
Good to know. Good to know that I live amongst these people. So good to know. The entire right wing is going to go absolutely apeshit over the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But just remember how none of them gave a shit about Democratic lawmaker in Minnesota being assassinated just a couple months ago. Trump basically ignored it. Well, I didn't hear about this guy. Probably something I'll look on. Let's see here. The Talking Head. Wednesday was the kickoff of Kirk's fall semester tour of colleges across the country, billed as the America Comeback Tour. Kirk took the day off from his daytime radio show and podcast to prepare for an on-campus event, and he was about 20 minutes into the appearance when he was struck in the neck by a gunner. So not even like a full hour or anything like that. He was 20 minutes into this. Prominent figures across the media landscape mourn the death of a man who they knew personally. We have lost one of our most important voices that we've had in my lifetime on the right, Megyn Kelly said in a live stream with Glenn Beck. Charlie Kirk was doing it the right way. The Republican strategist T.W. Agrigi, I apologize if I didn't say your name right, wrote on X. Charlie built a movement on campuses across America by engaging students in debate and dialogue, challenging orthodoxy and winning hearts and minds in the process. Isn't that what we want from our political figures? To try and silence that work through violence is antithetical to everything we stand for as a country. I agree. Over the course of a decade, Kirk successfully transformed the Turning Point into a nationwide powerhouse, styling himself as a mouthpiece for the youth wing of the MAGA movement. Turning Point USA's website quoted Kirk saying, "We play offense with a sense of urgency to win America's cultural war." That's how Kirk in Turning Point found success in conservative circles. Yep. Directly into cultural battles. Yep, I read all this. His desire to debate became a hallmark for the nonprofit, helping turn Kirk into MAGA media star and sought after TV and podcast guests when he wasn't busy with his own shows. Some of his tour stops this fall were promoted as forums for disagreement, featuring what Kirk's called the Prove Me Wrong table. Here he would face off with ideological opponents. I'm trying to be proactive about encouraging dialogue between people who disagree. Kirk's ascent in conservative politics mirrored the rise of right-wing populism in America. He embraced Trump during the 2016 presidential election. Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I had just turned 18 in 2014. And me personally, definitely wasn't going to vote for Hillary. But I wasn't going to vote for Trump either. For me, they were both evil. So I went with Cruz. I went with third party for my first vote as an adult who participated in politics. Then I voted for Trump in 2020 because I saw how well my paycheck was coming out. Back then, I was working at a $10 job and I had more money in my wallet than I do now as a long haul truck driver. I make more money now than I did at that $10 an hour job, but I'm barely making it. I'm barely scraping by with my bills. And that was especially so underneath Biden. So of course I voted for Trump in 2024. And I hope J.D. Vance runs for president because personally I think he's going to be far better than Trump was. That's just me though. And aggressively promoted Trump's re-election bids. Turning Point's local chapters helped register young Republicans and ensure that likely Trump voters actually turned out to the polls. Trump and his inner circle, in turn, helped elevate Kirk and Turning Point USA even more. Kirk's young age proved to be an advantage as his naturally built an online brand on platforms like YouTube, eventually gaining millions of digital followers. His political and media machine also launched other podcasts and media ventures to reach young people in new ways. Alex Clark's Culture Apothecary, for instance, launched in September of 2024 and focused on the wellness and lifestyle, viewing topics through Make America Healthy Again prism, which I should probably start following that because I am in desperate need of being healthy. I'm not healthy right now and I would like to be healthy. Kirk made his ambitions clear in an interview with the Deseret News, a Utah newspaper, in the days leading up to the Wednesday college campus event. We want to be an institution in this country that is well known and as powerful as New York Times, Harvard, and tech companies, Kirk said. And we believe we're creating that. Well, if you want to radicalize the right, you've got it. See if there's anything new. I hate that this keeps popping out. Three hours ago, 4 hours ago, 34 minutes. AP News. CNN. Conservative News. Current Affairs, 11. No, we'll end on Greg Abbott, because I'm pretty sure the AP News is just more of what we've already read. While that's loading. Minnesota lawmaker killed. Okay. Representative Melissa Hortman, a Minnesota Democrat and leader of the state House Democratic Caucus, and her husband Mark were killed in their Brooklyn Park home on June 14, 2025, in a targeted, politically motivated shooting that was also involved with State Senator John Hoffman, who was wounded along with his wife. The suspect in the case, Vance Luther Voltaire, has been charged with multiple offenses, including murder. Occurred on June 14th, 2025. Okay. A man who is accused of killing Democratic state lawmaker and her husband, injuring another state lawmaker and his wife, also attempted to kill two other state lawmakers, Minnesota officially says. Vance Luther Voltaire, 57, who was charged with that, husband, visited the homes of other state lawmakers in truly chilling attacks, U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson said. Mr. Voltaire, oh my gosh, stop, go away. Mr. Voltaire allegedly researched the victims and their families beforehand in preparation for a larger scale attack, which police has thwarted. His appearance in court on Monday afternoon to face 6 federal charges. He could face the death penalty if he is found guilty. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit when he arrived in the court of St. Paul on Monday afternoon. He said he could not afford a lawyer and would use a federal defense lawyer. At the brief hearing, Mr. Voltaire said he had 7 cars, $20,000 to $30,000 in savings, and made about $540 per week. At a press conference on the same day, officials talked through what happened in the early hours of Saturday morning in the suburbs of Minneapolis. They described how the Hortmans were killed and John Hoffman, a Minnesota state senator, and his wife, Yvette Hoffman, were shot multiple times in a separate attack. Officials also announced that the charges against Mr. Voltaire, at a federal level, he faces 2 counts of stalking, 2 counts of murder, and 2 counts of firearms-related charges. Separately, at a state level, Mr. Voltaire is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. Thompson said that Mr. Voltaire arrived at the Hoffman home disguised as a police officer in a large black car with emergency lights on the vehicle. Mr. Voltaire was wearing a hyper-realistic silicone mask when he rang the doorbell and shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Thompson said the authorities have a clear picture of what happened because the Hoffmans had security camera outside their home. When Hoffman opened the door, Mr. Voltaire shone a flashlight at the couple. Mr. Voltaire told the couple there was a shooting reported in the house and lowered his flashlight. Thompson said the couple then realized he was not a police officer. After they attempted to push him out, he allegedly fired a couple times and he fled the scene. Alright, I think I've heard of this, because that looks like a white mask. Okay. Let's see, let me get his full name. Vance. Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't make this more announced. I didn't hear about this either. Let's see here. Yvette Hoffman was shot 8 times and John Hoffman 9 times. Speaking on Sunday after After Voltaire's arrest, State Governor Tim Walz said, "The latest news is Senator Hoffman came out of his final surgery and is moving towards recovery." After allegedly shooting the Hoffmans, Mr. Voltaire drove to another state representative home and rang the doorbell there. That state representative was not at home, Thompson said, noting that she and her family were on vacation. Authorities did not reveal her name. He then drove to a third lawmaker's home, targeting them as well, Thompson said. Officials did not reveal the name of that state lawmaker either. After the press conference, Minnesota State Senator Ann Rest released a statement saying the suspect has been parked near her home on Saturday morning. "I'm so grateful for the heroic work of the New Hope Police Department and its officers. Their quick action saved my life." At one point, the officer pulled up to Mr. Voltaire in his vehicle, Thompson said. The officer assumed Voltaire was a police officer himself who had been dispatched to the scene to check on one of the lawmakers. When the officer asked Mr. Voltaire what he was doing, he simply stared straight ahead, Thompson said. Mr. Voltaire went on to the residence of the fourth lawmaker belonging to Melissa Hortman and her husband before carrying out another attack there. He is accused of arriving at the Hortman home and allegedly shooting and killing the couple. Police had said they found him at the residence and engaged fire before Mr. Voltaire fled. After he fled, officers embarked on a 2-day search for Mr. Voltaire before finding him late Sunday afternoon or Sunday night in a wooded rural area west of Minneapolis. He surrendered peacefully, eventually crawling towards police officers, according to police. Thompson said Mr. Voltaire had planned his attack carefully. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about their location of their homes. When they found Mr. Voltaire's car, officials discovered 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles, large quantities of ammunition, as well as lists of more than 45 Minnesota and federal elected officials, including Melissa Hortman. Damn. This is definitely not okay. I absolutely condone this 1000%. Mr. Bruley, officer chief from Brooklyn Park, said the officers who arrived at Hortman home foiled a larger plan. They essentially took Mr. Voltaire's vehicle away from him, which involved all of his maps, all of his names, all of his weaponry, Mr. Bruley said. "I would be very scared what it would look like over the next few hours ahead had we not done that. The chilling attack on our democracy, on our way of life," Thompson said at Monday press conference. "It's only the most recent example of violent political extremism in this country, and that's a trend that's been increasing over the recent years, and that's unfortunate. I hope it is a wake-up call to everyone that people can disagree with you without being evil or needing to be killed or hurt." Mr. Voltaire is scheduled to return to court for his next hearing on June 27th. Yeah, I don't condone this whatsoever. I don't care what they're doing. You can vote people out of office. You don't need to freaking kill them. My lord. Alright, this finally loaded up. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a statement on shooting death of a gun advocate, Charlie Kirk. Far-right activist Charlie Kirk. Okay, before we proceed, I hate when people say far left, far right. He was probably at most right, like moderate to right, back in the 2000s, early 2000s, maybe 2003. He's only far right now because the left has moved so far left that left people were now moderate. Moderate people are now right. Right are now far right. My lord, people notice that the curve is going so far to the left. Alright. Far-right activist Charlie Kirk, 31, was shot dead Wednesday at a speaking engagement at Utah Valley University. Following the announcement of Kirk's death, the White House lowered its flags to half-staff, and Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott released a media statement lamenting the passing and calling the shooting senseless. Cecilia and I are heartbroken by the assassination and passing of Charlie Kirk Abbott. Charlie's voice was a beacon for millions of young Americans searching for truth, courage, and conviction. This senseless act of violence has no place in America. Our prayers are with Charlie's family and his loved ones, especially the 2 young children he leaves behind. Texas stands with them in mourning and in honoring Charlie's enduring legacy. University officials said the suspect is still at large and the weapon used in the assassination hasn't yet been recovered, according to NBC News. President Donald Trump announced Kirk's death in a post on Truth Social. His statement appeared ahead of those released by officials. Okay, I've already read all that. Kirk was known for bringing MAGA message to younger voters and energizing them to turn out to the polls through his organization Turning Point USA. However, he also made waves in his inflammatory position on issues. For example, he quoted in April 2023 Newsweek article saying gun deaths were unfortunately worth it to protect the Second Amendment. Okay. Yes, it is worth it if it means that, like, let's take gun deaths, okay? All right. Take away gang violence. Take away suicides. About 10% of the gun violence that aren't gang violence or suicide are actual people committing murders and stuff like that. About 10%. I could be wrong about that. You know, no, I need to go here. Okay. In 2023, roughly 2,000 to 3,000 gun deaths in the United States were not suicides or gang-related homicides, but instead were unintentional shootings, law enforcement fatalities, or deaths with undetermined causes. Specifically, these include approximately 463 accidental deaths, around 604 deaths by law enforcement, and about 434 deaths with undetermined circumstances, totaling to approximately 1,501 deaths. Okay? Okay? So, deaths by law enforcement, let's include that. Let's just include that. Undetermined circumstances and accidental deaths. Okay, we'll all these included. About 1,501 deaths versus there are no conclusive figures for lives saved by guns each year because research on defensive gun use, DGUI, is challenging and has produced widely varying estimates, ranging from tens of thousands to over 1 million, depending on methodology. Studies rely on self-reporting, which can be unreliable, and there is a significant disagreement on whether surveys overcount or undercount these events. While a 2021 study estimates 1.6 million defensive gun uses, other researchers have found evidence that the positive causal effect of DGU on reducing harm to be inconclusive. Okay? Self-reporting issues and varying methodologies. That said, tens of thousands and to up to 1 million versus 1,501 deaths that were not gang-related and not suicides. I'm pretty sure that's a good figure. Even Charlie Kirk's death, as tragic as it is, does not mean my right to own a gun should be impeached upon. Okay? Simple as that. Same thing with everybody else. Everybody else has a right to bear arms. Every single person on this planet. Anybody who says otherwise, who says that we need to have more restrictive things or nobody showing guns, gotta realize that criminals don't give two fucks. They could care less about the gun laws because they'll just get a gun another way, one way or another. It's just a matter of who do you trust more? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust the government? Or do you trust criminals to not kill you and own a gun? Who do you trust more? Me personally, don't trust the government, don't trust criminals, so I'm going to own the gun. That's where I stand on this. Kirk's remarks came a week after 3 children and 3 adults were killed at Christian Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee. One of 586 U.S. mass shootings last year that took the lives of 711 people. So far, in 2025, we have 47 shootings at schools alone, leading to 19 fatalities and 77 injuries, according to CNN. Kirk was also quoted last year saying that he believed children should watch public executions, according to the report by Newsweek. I don't know. I have never heard this, and if he also did say this, that's fucked up. But public executions, they see worse on the internet. Are you freaking kidding me? You're gonna defame him because people said that he should watch public executions? Have you looked through YouTube? Have you looked through Twitter? Instagram? Facebook? Have you looked at the internet recently? It's a cesspool of violence, pornography, and other bullshit. You're gonna get mad at him for saying public executions? Kirk was at the Utah University as a stop on his Prove Me Wrong tour, named after a viral meme of him sitting smugly at a table with a sign displaying the dare that become his with a sign displaying the dare that became his catchphrase. Kirk was answering questions about gun violence when he was shot Wednesday, ABC reports. The conservative activist was attempting to link transgender Americans and gun violence when a single shot struck his neck, causing a fountain of blood to pour out, according to eyewitness accounts collected by the network. Okay. You want to know why he was associated transgender and gun violence? Because it's mentally ill people who own guns that are doing all the shooting. Mentally ill people are the ones that are shooting and killing people. Not the sane ones. The mentally ill ones that think it's okay to take another person's life just because of a disagreement. I take over 1.6 million people being alive easily for a reason why we should keep guns. Because that 1.6, let's just say it's 10,000, is a far better estimate than a reason to take away guns for only 1,500. That's where I stand on this. And I honestly think we are, like I said, we're on our way to a civil war. All the signs are there. It's either that or the rapture. It's one of those two things. Be either rapture or civil war. We gotta get our act together or else we're all gonna die. Thank you for joining me here. Sorry this is so dark. Sorry this was not fun. Normally I like to make a laugh out of the things. You can see that in some of my other videos you'll see later. Today I'm just pissed. Pissed at us humans. This is what our world's come to. Have a good night. Hopefully things will be better. Bye.